This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Ewan, the Mayor for Ritchie. We're going to do another council meeting virtually. I'm going to do quick introductions, and I will let everyone know how the night's proceeding. So we have Councillor Janine Boulanger.
Good evening, everybody.
Councillor Shane Pelche.
Howdy.
Councillor Curtis Clayton.
Good evening, everyone.
Councillor Ron Mamchuk.
Good evening, everybody.
CEO Mitch Duval.
Evening.
And in the background, Assistant CEO Dominic Lemoine.
Good evening.
So as usual for our virtual online meetings, we will not be voting in person or with our hands. We will do mover seconder and then casting our vote online, and the CEO will be reading if it's passed or defeated. So I will start the meeting with item 1, meeting call to order. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Clayton.
Councillor Clayton seconds. Any discussion?
Not here.
Please cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item 2, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelche.
Thank you.
Councillor.
Second, Councillor Boulanger.
Sure.
Thank you. Just a quick adjustment. I'd like to jump right to the conditional use. I believe we only have one, so item 6.1.1, and then we'll go back to the regular agenda as listed here, if council's okay with that.
Fine with me.
Okay, perfect. Please cast your vote.
We're here for the long run.
Yeah.
The vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you very much. And just a note, Mr. CEO, we started the meeting at 7:01 p.m. Moving on to 6.1.1, C24 2020, Jaden McGonigal, 49 Grattan Street, St. Agathe.
The proposal is to have a home-based business surveying office in an RG8 zone. Notices were sent out to surrounding properties as well as sent to the RM McDonald, the Public Works Manager, Building Inspector, Councillors, CEO, Fire Chief. It was also posted at the Case Provencher, actually Case Groupe Financier in St. Agathe and the Dépanneur Cheyenne, as well as posted on the municipal board, municipal website, and the Connect system.
Thank you very much. I'll open the public hearing at 7:03 p.m. Is there anyone wishing to speak in favor online?
Could I myself, Jaden, speak?
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead, Jaden.
Yeah, I want to use my house just basically as an office space and for storing equipment, maybe hold the odd meeting, but I'd be operating more or less across Manitoba. Like day-to-day operations, I wouldn't have people coming and going very often. It'd just be for an office space for me to work out of.
Awesome, excellent. I will open it up for questions from council. Council, do you have any questions or comments?
Not here.
Not here. No, I don't have anything to ask Mr. McGonigal.
You have great neighbors, I hear, Jaden.
Absolutely, I do. I applaud him for legitimizing his business.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to shout that out as well. I appreciate the honesty in coming to council and doing this. I've done this as well. I think it just shows that we want to be a part of the municipality, as do you, and it brings new opportunities for businesses to just be part of that municipality. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Jaden. I appreciate that. Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor online? Is there anyone in council chambers wishing to speak in favor?
No, there is not.
Is there anything received in favor?
Nothing received.
Is there anyone wishing to speak against online? Anyone in council chambers wishing to speak against?
No, there's not.
Anything received against?
Nothing received against.
Perfect. One last call in favor or against on any platform. Seeing none, I'll close the hearing at 7:06 PM. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Mamchuk,
Second?
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you.
The resolution would read, therefore be resolved that conditional use application number 24-2020 to allow a surveying office as a home-based business is approved, subject to the following conditions: that applicant shall not cause the generation of undue traffic and congestion in the neighborhood. All storage of related materials and equipment must be indoors. Space devoted to the business cannot exceed 20% of the total floor area of the dwelling or 300 square feet, whichever is less. Any signage shall comply with the municipal zoning bylaw 9-2019, section 11. And the applicant shall provide a signed confirmation letter accepting the terms of the order. There may be site audits conducted to ensure compliance, and any non-compliance issues may be caused to revoke the conditional use at any time.
Thank you very much, Ms. Shill. I'll open it up to council debate or discussion right now. Does council have anything to say?
not here.
Nothing here.
No, I'm good.
Okay, I'll
This
ask
will be
council.
low.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, go
No,
ahead.
I'll just say that, it'll be low impact to the neighborhood. It sounds like Mr. McGonigal will be doing most of his work offsite anyways. And this really isn't too much different than what most of us are doing right now because of COVID, working, out of our homes.
Mhm.
Absolutely. No, I appreciate that. Okay, I'll have council please cast their vote.
That vote is carried 5-0.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Mr. Seal. Mr. McGonigal, I appreciate that. You are more than welcome to stay and listen to this long, exciting meeting, or you can log off now and get information from the RM. I will continue on to item
Thank
number
you.
3. Thank you. I will continue on to item number 3, adoption of the minutes. Do I have a mover?
Counselor Mamchuk,
Second?
Councillor Blanchet.
Thank you.
The last meeting minutes of November 3rd, we had a delegation of the RCMP. We also passed a couple important resolutions, one for the speed display device. This is the new protocol that the province is putting into place if we wish to put up radar signs to hopefully slow down traffic. I do have a contact person through Manitoba Infrastructure, so we could get working on that. I think the problem may be what they deem as a mobile sign versus a permanent sign. So we'll work around and try to see what we could do there in order to help communities reduce their speeds, as well as the council approved or supported a fire protection grant application to the province, and we have not heard anything from that application at this time.
Thank you. Any discussion from council?
well, I appreciate if we can get something with that speed zone because it's not getting any better. And I thank you very much for all your effort, Mr. CEO and Mr. Mayor, on that. Thank you.
No, not a problem. Okay, no other discussion. I'll have council please cast their vote.
The vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item 4, committee reports and minutes. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Clayton.
Councillor Clayton moves it, second by Councillor Pelletier.
We have two submissions, one from Mayor Ewan regarding the WMR, the Winnipeg Metro Region, John Q. Communities Futures RRR, the Richot Chamber of Commerce, the Richot CDC, the IMBM, and also the Communications Committee, as well as Councillor Mamchuk's report on the Seine Rat River Water District.
Thank you very much. I just want to let council know I apologize for the late entry. I'm sure you probably didn't have time to read it today. If it's too late to submit something, I did it probably this morning. Just let me know and then I'll have it added for the following council. Any other discussion? Seeing none, I will have you cast your vote.
Oh, come on. I'm having trouble opening mine up here. Oh, I got it now.
Curtis, your internet's looking good tonight.
I have new internet tonight.
Not the internet, just new internet.
No, we're just one level higher, yes.
Oh.
Zoom meetings going on in the house right now, and you can see me, so it's pretty impressive. It's a game changer.
On that note, that is carried 5-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on to 5.1, accounts not paid to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Blanchet.
Thank you.
We have two batches. The biggest batch there, and I can't move my screen around. I have nothing really to report. We had some Councillor Pelletier and Councillor Mamchuk had some questions on some of the items in the batch. Those were answered and distributed to council as a whole for information. The best part is to read our CFO's report on the batch, which basically summarizes the big ticket items within the batch.
Thank you. Again, I know council has submitted their questions. Does council have anything else to add?
Not here.
Culverts aren't cheap.
Say that again, Councillor Pelletier?
Culverts aren't cheap.
Yeah, no kidding.
There's a couple of big ones there, holy.
We're gonna have to start manufacturing them ourselves.
Right.
Okay, cast your vote.
That is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Item 5.2, payroll to be approved. Do I have a mover?
Councillor
Councillor
Blanchet.
Clayton?
Councillor Belanger moves, second by Councillor Clayton.
Payroll 23 dating from October 25th to November 7th. We looked at the summary of the report and really nothing much going on, a little bit of overtime here and there, nothing to be concerned about.
Perfect. Any comments or questions? Seeing
Not here.
none. Thank you. I'll have you cast your vote.
The vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Item 5.3, 2019 audited financial statement. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you.
We had the privilege of BDO, our auditors, come in and do a presentation, come in virtually, do a presentation to council on November 12th. I'm hoping that council does not have more intricate questions on the report. It is very thorough, very complicated, hence why we do hire a third body to do the reports. That is all I have to say at this point in time.
Thank you. I'll open up for comments or questions from council. Having said that beforehand, I was not there, unfortunately, so I did read through some of it, but I will have to trust council on this one, just for the record.
Well, I
Any
just want to say that I think, things seems to be cleaning up and fewer I don't want to say mistakes, but it seemed like there wasn't too many things to review and correct, and it all went pretty smooth, and according to the way I saw it anyway.
Limited delinquencies.
Yeah, I think BDO considers it satisfactory, but I think that's exceptional when you consider all the transactions that are going through the municipality on an annual basis. So yeah, great work for sure.
And one thing I have to say, when you deal with the same firm, that helps a lot too. It seems so professional. It went just smooth.
Well, good to know. I appreciate that. Okay, I'll have council please cast their vote.
The vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on to item 7.1.1, conditional use review policy. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Clayton,
Second?
Councillor Pelletier.
Councilor Member. Okay, whatever.
2 seconds.
We have a lot of seconds.
Yes, this was discussed at the planning committee regarding conditional uses and basically the extent of time for home-based businesses and whatnot to check up on them and see how they're doing. I think our planning person put this together, did an excellent job, and also did some research with community planning, the provincial body, to ensure that we can do this, do it this fashion. So very pleased with the progress that is being done towards these conditional uses.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate the work done too. I think this is going to be not only protecting the municipality, but also they'll help the businesses branch out if they need to and figure out if they're on the right path as well. So I appreciate the work. Any comments?
Well, I was just going to say, sometimes when a business sells to another business, those conditional uses carry on, but the new owner isn't aware of them. So this could be a good check, just so that they know what they're supposed to do rather than waiting for the angry neighbor to come knocking on their door, right? So I think this will help everybody.
Angry neighbors, what?
They're all happy here.
Okay, I'll have council cast their vote, please.
That vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Item 7.1.2, development agreement, Alan Hebert, 733 North Link Road. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Belanger.
Councillor Belanger moves it, second by Councillor Pelletier.
I'm just trying to catch up on my clicking here. Okay, so we have a development agreement that is ready to move ahead with in regards to AKA Alan Ebert's property. This is tied into the conditional use C-13/2018. The planning person, I've asked her to basically summarize and prepare almost like a cheat sheet, Cole's notes of the development agreement. So that is attached for council to review. So basically, in the development agreement, we are permitting and prohibiting uses on the property. We're also setting out requirements that are set out in general as the conditional use approval. There's a section related to parking and also construction of a fence. In the industrial zone that we currently have, we're removing some of the prohibited uses, and these are listed within the agreement, such as no accessory buildings are going to be allowed outside. And then we always have the standard conditions that are addressed in a development agreement, such as lighting, landscaping, littering, hazardous substances. We also are putting in there that there'll be no parking allowed on North Link or Main Street if there's an overflow of vehicles. Going back to the construction of the fence, that it needs to be done by June 30th of 2021, so next summer. And this agreement will be registered as a CAVID on all the properties in question.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from council?
Nice work.
Yeah, it appeared like it was a big one though, right? Like there was a lot of work that went behind this one, it seemed.
We had our legal go through it just to make sure that we had our facts covered. So again, a little bit of back and forth with legal to ensure that everything is done properly.
No doubt.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, I appreciate the work, and I think this development itself, from what when I drive by it, and hopefully when council sees it, it's come a long way and it looks great and it's a great asset.
Hmm.
So it takes all hands in the community, so good work. I'll have council cast their vote now.
That vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Item 7.1.3, October 2020 building permit reports. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk,
Second.
Councillor Clayton.
Thank you.
It is surprising, even though we're in a pandemic, the amount of construction that is going on within the municipality. For the month of October, we have issued 14 permits for a value of about $2 million, fees bringing in about $6,400. I believe I counted about 5 brand new homes being built through those building permits. As compared to October of 2019, 8 permits at 1.3 million and only $4,600 of building fees. So to date, we are basically almost 50% more than last year at 164 permits with 32 million in value, bringing in building permit fees of 97,000 compared to 2019 at 122 permits, 18.5 million and $72,000 of building fees.
Thank you, Mr. CEO. Yeah, fantastic year we're having. I wish I could say I knew exactly what was going on and who to give the credit to, but I don't, so I'll just take the credit. Thank you.
Oh boy.
No, honestly, great job, everyone. Admin here, developers, about how quick you guys are to release permits, making sure that you've done your due diligence. So I do appreciate all the hard work that goes behind getting those permits out.
Yeah, I
Anyone else
agree that-
relay those comments?
Thank you. Anything else from council?
not here.
No. Okay, perfect. Cast your vote.
Vote is carried 5-0.
7.1.4 Municipal Enforcement Support Program. Do I have a mover?
Councillor
Councillor
Mamchuk,
Blanchard.
Oh, that was tough.
Take your pick.
Councillor Manchuk moved it. Do I have a second?
Go for it, Curtis.
Oh, come on. Ladies first.
Councillor Blanchard.
Councillor Clayton. Oh, there.
Where's the
Councillor-
start button?
Beat me twice on that
Councillor
one.
Belanger seconds it.
All right, as a result of the province moving into code red and provincial wide, they've also are on the, I must choose my words carefully here. They are trying to keep reminding people to stay at home, stay safe, wash your hands, etc., etc. But the message is not being properly received. In order to do this, there is enforcement that needs to be done, and the province has just hired another 3,500 personnel to help with the enforcement of this. There are funds in place after the fact that if we spend our restart fund, that we might get extra funding through this municipal enforcement support program. As such, it was quite a little bit complex where the program was rolling out faster than we could keep up with. So administration had to had an application in by last Friday, November 13th. So I took it upon myself to do so. However, they are well aware that a lot of the councils may not have a decision made until this week with their council meetings, such the case for Reachot. We have up to Friday to decide if council wants to move ahead with such enforcement. And it would be municipal enforcement that we would be looking at. And my recommendation would be to hire the commissioners a third party enforcement if we choose to do so. Some of the other municipalities around us may not be participating because they do not have that third party bylaw enforcement. They have their own enforcement and they don't want their local people doing that type of enforcement because they still need to work with their residents in the future. So that is where we are at for that. So I think the debate will be, does council want to proceed with municipal enforcement regarding COVID and public health matters? Or do we want just to relay, if there are complaints, relay those complaints to public health and they would act accordingly? Oh, one thing I forgot to mention, if we do participate and the tickets that are issued by our bylaw enforcement, those would be coming back to the municipality as a revenue.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that, Mr. Seal. I'll open up for debate now. I'll let council start.
If we carry on with this, we need a resolution for it, for what I gather, Mr. CEO?
Correct, and that is the resolution that you see in your screen that you guys have just moved and seconded. Basically, it's just to participate in the program. I did ask a province how fancy they wanted. They just wanted a quick yes or no or something to that effect. So we tried to keep it as simple as possible.
I don't think it would hurt, to be honest with you.
I agree. I think to be responsible leaders, this has to get under control, and I don't see a problem in having our third party just be there in case.
Yeah, I agree. I think we should be participating in a program, and you know what the next steps are after that. I mean, I guess maybe is still up for decision, but
Okay, I appreciate that. Any other debate?
I just have a
don't know
question.
how we,
Councillor Pelletier?
how this rolls out. Like, is it while he's doing our stuff, or do we get him to come in looking after just this certain times of the week? Like, how does that? I don't envision how this rolls out without us incurring costs, even if he doesn't find anybody.
That's right. And I think what we would do is that administration would set up a separate category on our tracking system. Let's call it public health enforcement. And if and when we receive phone calls, we would log the call in, no different than any other complaint that we would get, and then send out the bylaw enforcement to act accordingly. On the application, I only put in about 10 hours a week. We could go a little bit higher. It's entirely new to us, so it will be a little bit of a learning curve for everybody, but that is how I see it unfolding moving forward. We would definitely be keeping track of the separate hours being committed towards public health enforcement. For tracking purposes, I'm sure that's going to be part of the requirements to get some of the funds back from the province.
there's a provincial tip line. Is the municipality, or like, are we involved with that at all? Like, are we being asked to enforce any of those tips, or?
I think what the process we will do at our end is that if we do get a complaint through the office phone number, we will log it through the tracker. However, we're not there 24/7, correct? So what we would also do is post it on our website that after hours, and also put it on our answering system that after hours, please phone the tips line to report any situations you may encounter.
Good to know.
Yes.
Any other discussion?
I was just going to ask further to what Shane was saying. So we wouldn't be committing to a certain amount of hours. You just kind of were guesstimating, right, Mitch? So whatever we pay the commissioners would just be on call basis. Is that how it would work?
Pretty much, yeah, exactly. So if we do get a call, we track it. We put it on the tracker. We deploy the bylaw enforcement officer accordingly. If it's after hours, then it will go to the tips line, right? We could only control what we hear during administration hours. After that, the tips line would kick in.
And this would just
And
be
the
a faster process then? Sorry, Curtis.
No, go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure how fast the province is, but I know we could act semi-quickly on matters.
Right, that's what I'm thinking. That's the advantage of this program, right? To try to get things done a bit quicker.
Yeah, and I guess it all depends where the bylaw enforcement officer is at the time when they do get the calls. If they're across the city, well, it's going to take them an hour to come out and investigate. And by then, who knows if things dissipated by then, right? So it's almost like calling in the animal control
RCMP.
officer for a loose dog.
Or calling the RCMP if there's a problem.
Yeah, there's different ways, but by participating in the program, we do get a shot at helping enforcement throughout Manitoba.
Perfect. Any other comments?
I think it's a good idea.
Okay, cast your vote, please.
The vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on to 7.1.5, COVID-19 relief funding arenas. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelletier.
Thank you. Second.
Councillor
Councillor
Mamchuk.
Clayton.
Councillor Mamchuk, seconds. Pardon me.
Again, as a result of Code Red from the province and starting with the metropolitan area first, it was enforced or being enforced that all our outdoor and indoor facilities be brought to a halt due to Code Red and gatherings, etc. As such, we have proceeded to shut down the 3 arenas within the municipalities. The recommendation from our recreation director is to not forget about these facilities, and seeing that we have a restart program funding from the province in the sum of about 400,000, that we could use part of those funds to help our facilities with the hydro costs and the labor costs. At the last planning meeting, those dollars were given to council as a split, and those dollars work out to about $34,000 a month for all 3 facilities combined. I modified the resolution a smidge to say that council is going to be debating on supporting our facilities for the month of November and December as a result of Code Red likely being in effect until December 11th, I believe, and who knows what would happen thereafter. But I don't want to make that commitment for further until we have more more of a review and more data thereafter. So my recommendation would be to support our arenas for the month of November and December, and that these funds be forwarded by the Recovery Restart Program.
Okay, thank you. I'll open up for council discussion. Any comments?
I'm sure the arenas will appreciate the support.
No, I think it's our facilities we're gonna have to look after.
Okay, I appreciate that. Okay, cast your vote.
That vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you. Moving on, 7.1.6, COVID-19 relief funding, Ile-des-Chenes Food Bank. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Pelletier.
Second.
Councillor Mamchuk?
Thank you.
We have a food bank service in Ile-des-Chenes that is currently experiencing declines in donations and support. The food bank apparently supports 23 families, up to 35 families during the holiday season. Again, I'm not sure how much we give outside the realm of COVID, but I think because of COVID, there is more of a need, more of a stress on families to make ends meet. So it is the recommendation from our recreation director to support the food bank by giving a donation or an allocation of $5,000, again, from this restart program.
Thank you. I'll open up for discussion to council. I just want to make a comment. I'm not sure if the $5,000 feeds a family for a day or for a couple weeks, but I took it over a 14-day span of the 35 families, and the average family in Richot is 3.5, so let's say 4. So you're looking at feeding someone for $2.55 a day. I actually think that's relatively low, and I would like to bring it to $10,000.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I just, obviously somebody's keeping tally and where we're going to be at with the divvying up this 400,000.
Yeah.
So are there other, like that 400,000 seems like a big number. If 35,000 is going to our facilities and then 10,000 here, so we're at 45, right? There's still a lot of money. So is it going to start to pour in some more as we go? How is this working, Mitch?
So far, in my little head, I've documented some of where the funds are going to anticipate to be going. Right now, of that 400, I'm at about 53%, so just over the $200,000 mark as we speak, which would include our facilities and the food bank and other things that I have on my list that we could discuss at a later time.
Okay.
This is Councillor Mamchuk. The only thing I support this program very much. What happens? We start getting inquiries from communities like St. Agathe and St. Adolphe and Howden and Grand Point, and how are we going to handle that if it goes to that extent?
I think that's a public relations piece, which is my department. And quite frankly and brutally, there is one food bank in Richot, and it is the Ile-des-Chenes Food Bank, and I'm willing to stand for the one food bank. If there were other food banks, we definitely would evaluate each food bank, but we don't have that opportunity.
I just want to get that cleared because there's a good possibility.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I think there are other support methods that we do with other groups in the municipality. And I find it hard to believe, I'm not putting any shame to you, Councillor Mamchuk, but I find it hard to believe that somebody would say, well, we don't get enough. I think we try our best as council in the municipality to give as much as we can.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with this program. I'm just saying if it happens.
No, I respect that and I agree.
I just
conversations with the rec director.
Go ahead, yeah.
Go ahead, Jeannie, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say about Grand Point at Christmas, we always put hampers together for families in need in Grand Point as well. And we always have a surplus, and that surplus goes back to the Ile des Chênes Food Bank.
Well, that's
So,
good to know.
Like
'Cause I
Chris
know-
said, you know, outside communities, they also give too, so.
I know St. Adolphe, they have a Christmas hamper, what you call a drive here as well. So I'm just want to get, you know, clear the air just in case.
Yeah, no,
Because
I
there's a good
value that.
Thank you, Mr.
value
Mayor.
Yeah,
Council-
well, the rec directors mentioned that the Ile des Chênes Food Bank does support St. Adolphe families already.
Oh, good. Okay, good.
So
Because I just, okay, thank you.
she didn't know of any in St. Agathe, but St. Adolphe definitely.
Oh, that's good.
When I look at what we normally do at work is we'll grab 30 families for the Christmas cheer board. I have no idea what that's going to look like this year.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the same thing that the food bank's having right now is nobody's at work with a box collecting food so that you can drop it all off. I just like to thank the mayor for throwing his magic 10 grand number out.
That's my charity number this year.
It's a good cause.
No,
I'm in agreement with that too.
I agree with that too, Shane. I think it's a very good cause for our RM. So thanks, Mr. Mayor, for that recommendation.
No problem. Any other discussion?
So is council looking at changing the resolution to 10,000?
Yes.
Got my approval or my support.
Okay,
Yeah,
then we will make the change and you guys could vote accordingly.
Thank you.
Okay. Council, please cast your vote on the amendment or changes discussed and the resolution as a whole. Thank you.
That vote is carried 5-0.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item 8. Oh no, these are just, sorry, this is just correspondence. Okay, we're moving on to item 10, adjournment. Do I have a mover?
Councillor Mamchuk.
Second?
Councillor Belanger.
Oh, Councillor Clayton, you tried. Okay, Councillor Belanger seconds it.
When
Please
he-
cast.
When he gets that internet, boy, watch out.
No, I'm
your
gonna be moving everything.
The gunslinger.
Bye, Ron.
Are you waiting on votes there, Mr. CEO?
Oh,
I'm waiting for one to come in.
Ward 3 might be a little slow here. Hold on.
He was bragging about his internet, eh?
No, it's the person behind the chair, not the internet.
Miraculously, that is carried 5-0.
I'll close the meeting at 7:43 p.m. Thank you, everyone. You can stop recording now, Dominic.